Okay, so what I want to do is the extrude tool. Under Edit Mesh, we got the extrude tool sitting right here. The hotkey is Control E, or one of the hotkeys. There's a few different hotkeys for this. And if you grab a face and you hit extrude, remember this window that if you hit extrude, it closes the window and extrudes, and this one here, apply, will just extrude and leave the window open. Okay, and when I pull this out, great, I got an extrude. You see this little window here? What is it? We got thickness on here, which is the same thing as pulling this out along its local Z-axis. I don't know why they're repeating the information here. If there's some thought process in this, actually, there it is right there. There's the same one. I don't get it. There's an offset feature here. We'll talk about that in a second. Divisions, so I can increase the divisions as I extrude, and keep faces together off and on. Okay. And these are all down here on the side too. I rarely ever go in here and change any of these settings in this window. There's a little bit of curves, we'll talk about that afterwards. Okay, let's just go in and undo this. And let's do something like, oh, I gotta be careful about how many extrudes I do as well, because sometimes you'll still leave that extrude sitting right there and you won't even notice it. You know, there's fun money going on here. What if you right click and you go to vertex face? You can see all these funny little lines here. These are faces with zero geometry area. And you just got to watch out you don't hit that. That's one of those features that I really hate on the move tool. So if I'm back over here on faces on the move tool, if I reset the tool, there's these smart duplicate settings, and I freaking hate these things. They're like max user things. I mean, you don't know the Control E to extrude. This just causes more trouble. I think these should be off by default. Anyway, you'll see that if you grab these faces and then you hold down Shift and you pull, you can extrude. And I don't know. I find this really inaccurate when I'm modeling. I don't like it. And there's also the duplicate objects too. You don't know Control D for duplicate. That just seems, yeah, something that bugs me. And if I do something like this, if I did an extrude and I left it on the surface, if I go to vertex face, I can spot it right here. Usually what I'll do is I'll just grab all the vertices in that area and just quickly hit Edit Mesh and merge, and they'll merge together and the problem will be gone. Okay, we'll talk about that later on. What other things do you need to know about the extrude? So if I did something like, let's go and I'm going to grab this cat here, and I'm going to grab these faces here and here. And I missed one here. Okay, great. And let's just go and hit, just to make something kind of more interesting, average vertices. I'll just hit G a few times. Great. Then I'm going to switch this to faces. Control, right click, faces. And for whatever reason, it's not letting me do my trick. Face. Okay, great. I'm back there. And if I went in and I hit mesh, or Edit Mesh Extrude, hotkey, Control E, and I pull this up, okay, and I pull it out, you can see right now it's going along its local axis. Okay, if I go and I hit this, I can make it go along the global axis. The local axis is the Z-axis, so it's like the front of the face, so it's kind of like your depth, just like your camera. Your Z-axis is your depth. And so here, if I do this, they'll scale away from each other, from the center, okay? And I can go back to local by clicking the dial, and I can pull it this way. You'll see it kind of behaves a little bit funny locally, so it's not always the best way to go. I usually like to model half a character and then switch it over. And I can go in here and change the divisions, okay? And let's see if I'm pulling this apart. Actually, this went really horribly wrong here. Let's see if I go into undo here, pull it out, and then I were to scale it down. Yeah, it didn't even do a very good job there either. Anyway, I can increase the divisions, and if I'm extruding, another thing here is just keep faces together off and on. So as I'm extruding, I can keep them together or off and on. And usually I like to have this on. Occasionally I want them off, and I'll just turn it off here. There's a setting in the preference window over here in the preferences for modeling polygons. ones? Nope, it's down here. Tick, 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 modeling. And there's a feature here that says keep faces together. So automatically they'll be separate if you turn this off. Okay. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, when I'm in here in the manipulators, actually that's how you can turn off your plane handles right here too. But that's another video. So what if I did something like back over here, chopped off the cat's tail? Why? Why would you do that? There. And then I did something like I grabbed a face here and I hit mesh, fill hole, great. And then I go and I switch to my right view and I grab my create curve tool, CV curve tool, and I want to build a better cat's tail. Yes. Okay, enter. And then I'm going to zip over here, and if I grab this face, and then I grab this curve, and I can't grab it because I'm stuck in component mode for whatever reason. Let's try it again. Face, there, there. And then I'll hit Control E, and it goes from the start of the curve to the end of it. I need divisions immediately. Okay, it looks like 25 is not enough, so let's go and put in, say, 50. Okay, and it did it kind of evenly. I might have to do this a different way. But after you do an extrude along curve, and let's get rid of this stupid thing too. By the way, this little message here, that's under display, heads up display, in view messages, in view editors. I typically will turn those off because they bug me. Let's go back here to the extrude. And if I go down here, there is the twist. So as it goes along, it'll twist the cat's tail. You can type in more than's actually here. 1080. Yes. Twist the tail. And then I could actually put in more divisions too. Let's put in 200. Okay, enter. And then you've also got the option for tapering. So you can make it big and thick, or you can make it, oh yes. There, this is a perfect little cat. Some other things to be aware of. And actually, you can see in here there's a smoothing angle. And I can't remember if I already said that or not. If I take this and when I extrude, you typically always notice that the smoothing angle is hard. If you go in here, you can change the smoothing angle down here. It always defaults to 30 degrees. When you put it to beyond 30 degrees, you will see they soften out. Okay, they've got that setting on almost every tool. Local versus, oh, and also, so let's just undo that. Something else I'll quickly show here. I'm thinking about doing something to the cat's back. And I grab all these faces, maybe deselect that one. Oh yeah, perfect. And get this, this, and this. Great. And when I extrude, we can put a saddle on the cat so we can ride around the cat, ride around the house. There's a little feature here called random. Whoop, and it'll ripple up your surface as you extrude, which is handy, 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 handy. But if I want to make some kind of saddle, you notice that this kind of gives me a hollow piece in here. And because this is a solid closed surface, if I hit 4, you can see that this is closed. Let's go back a bit right here before we extruded. I'm going to take those faces and let's just go and hit duplicate, boop, duplicate face, and I can pull these off, so now they're a separate object. Let's hit 5. Separate object from extracting, and then when I hit extrude and I pull this out, you'll see that this object is solid because that's a closed surface. When you grab the whole thing and it's closed surface, that's what you'll get. Some other things to note, that when you're extruding, you can extrude edges. I typically don't recommend this on a closed surface like this to hit extrude and pull this out. This doesn't really know how to smooth properly and you get some weird results. Also too, let's get rid of that face. If I go and I grab all the vertices, you can extrude vertices as well. And that looks kind of funny there, but this is giving you some really bad geometry, so I don't recommend it. But you never know, that would come in handy for something you're trying to pull off somewhere. And so I talked about the extrude that's there and the fact that I turn that off typically, and we extrude along a path. And was there anything else on these little lines here? Also, if I'm extruding, there is a there's another hotkey that most people don't know about, is when you hold down O and you go and you left click, and you can go to increase complexity, extrude faces, you can come in and select faces, and as soon as you let go, it's got the extrude tool on it, so you can extrude out. Okay, and that's handy. Every once in a while, that's really handy, because you can just quickly paint your polygons for extruding. And anything else down in here, thickness, reverse all faces, that's kind of useless. I'm not really sure what that's about. But when you extrude, if I grab some faces and I hit extrude and I pull them out, that there's this option. I just want to go on the right one. I am. And reverse all faces. And it actually just goes and reverses the backside face on a full object. Like sometimes this is really handy when you grab the create polygon tool and you make this shape. Okay, enter, and oh look, the kitty made a mess. If I go in and I extrude, grab this face and I hit Control E, if I extrude it up and if I were to scale it, that's bad, right? But then down here there's offset. And offset will do this kind of nice offset as you extrude. I use this quite a bit. I like that feature right there. And I think, oh, there's one other thing here. Let's just do this. Another cool kind of feature that's hidden. That's if I grab these faces here, and if I hit extrude. Now right now this is your local axis, and this is your global axis. So they switch between the two. This one here you can extrude, like I said, X, Y, Z axis, but also too when you're on this mode, you can move your pivot point. So if I did something like this and I pulled it up and like, what the hell are you doing? I pulled the pivot point up to here, and then I went and I grabbed the rotate portion of the tool, whoop, and I rotated it up, something like this. Then if I went in and I put in divisions, I would get an arc out of that. Not the best topology, but it got an arc. So there you have it. I think I've covered all the crazy things you can do on the extrude tool. I'm just giving this a second thought. Anything I'm missing? I think I've covered everything.